Well, that's good. And then to have that on. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh.
I can't say I'm great, but
Apparently Shell's nurse hasn't left yet, so she's not here yet.
yeah, I was gonna stop over and stay with her, but she said she didn't think the nurse was gonna leave yet, so.
Apparently hasn't, because she wrote me and said, I'll sign in if she leaves, but hasn't done so. So, any particular reason that you're not great? Just the general situation.
Kind of the general situation. Leftover sadness that the Canadians are gone for another year.
Oh, that's like,
Yeah,
that
like
used to only come once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John's latest wrinkle is he's got vertigo.
Oh.
Woke up Friday morning with vertigo. Thursday evening, we had a bit of excitement.
Oh.
We've been feeding the birds and heard some thumping while we were watching TV and looked out on our deck, which is elevated and right off the kitchen. And there was this rather large black bear on the deck with the birds that had pulled down the bird feeder.
Yep.
And was working at it. And I kind of turned around to tell John, and then looked again, and he'd already gone with the feeder.
Oh.
Which was exciting.
Yeah.
And we called 911 to let them know that there were bear sighting.
Yeah.
And the dispatcher said, well, we can't do anything about that.
Didn't expect you to do anything.
Yeah, just, I don't know who to call.
Yeah, right.
And then about maybe an hour later, I heard something again, and the bear was back, licking up all the seed that it spilled. And
he liked your bird food.
I liked our bird food. And this time I took a couple pictures, one picture anyway, one of them didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And I had watched him, wondering how he got up and down, and he had come up the stairs, and he went over to the gate and climbed on top of it and turned himself around. and
Sounds like he's done this before.
Not at our house, but
no, but somewhere
and
else.
We have chain link fence around the whole backyard, but it's only about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he clearly climbed over that because I could see, the next day I looked and I could see the bird feeder in the woods, just a little bit beyond the chain link fence.
Yeah.
It surprisingly did very little damage to the feeder. Got the top off, straightened the crook that was holding it on.
Yeah.
Got the top off, chewed up the top part of it, and
Ate
of
all
course
the
there was
seed.
no seed in it.
Oh, there wasn't.
No, well, no, there was. When he got it, it was full.
Oh.
So we're not feeding the birds anymore.
I see.
And I recommend you don't feed the birds.
We had, we didn't see the bear when he came here, but we had, we kept our bird seed in a metal trash can with a stretch cord on the top holding the lid down. And we came out one morning and looked at our trash can. The lid had been bent in half. And the bird seed, a lot of the bird seed was gone. It wasn't all gone because there was like half a bag there. So obviously we had a bear visit, but that's that. We've seen, we saw a bear next door, but that, so they're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would expect them around here, and we're
Yeah.
and it's pseudo woodsy behind us, but it's
Well,
not. But it is. There is a lot of woods connected.
Yeah. Well.
Behind. So it was. Now it's sad that we don't have the birds anymore, and in some weird way, I got attached to that bear, just like. That's our bear.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Right.
It was scary. I don't really want him to be back there, but it's a kind of odd reaction to it.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, John woke up with a vertigo. So.
Oh dear. Has he still got it?
Yeah. It's not constant, and it's not totally room spinning, but it's a bit room spinning. So I don't know if he's going to call the doctor today and let her know, at least. So okay, this is something to be worried about.
You know, the only time I ever had serious vertigo, I mean, I've been a little crazy-headed in my life, but when I had, actually my chiropractor diagnosed that after having been to ear specialists and people who did me no good at all, I had a cold in my ear. And she gave me a natural medication for it, and I was fine. I've never had a reoccurrence. So I just passed that on as a.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had any kind of cold that I've been aware of.
Well, I didn't appear to have a cold. So, but I actually was, if I remember right, I actually drove to Norwich and did class, but had to sit down to do class. I should never have done that. But I remember that I had to sit down to do class because I couldn't stand up. Silly.
Yeah, I've had it a couple of times, and it's definitely been the positional one, because I maybe about 3 times, because I've been to 3 different doctors that did what they call the Epley maneuver, and you turn your head you sit up and you turn your head one way, and then you lie down, and then you turn your head around.
Yep.
And that helped it.
Yeah, I know a number of people that's helped. So.
But I have the instructions for that. I don't dare do that on John myself.
No.
I don't know if his physical therapist would be willing to do that without a note from the doctor.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. Well, we just had a quick 4-day trip to DC, and got to have dinner at our nephew's new restaurant,
cool.
Bar del Monte. But it was really charming. He's done, well, his father helped him a lot. His father's the chef who been hugely successful for many years. But they actually bought an old gas station and renovated it into this beautiful restaurant. It's really not fancy, but very upscale.
Yeah.
Food was very good. Oliver is they actually have waiting lists most nights.
Oh, good.
So he's doing. They actually it seats 38, and they had one Saturday night they did. I think it was 157 dinners. That's a lot.
Yes, and yes, at the meal center, we had 120, but it was one meal.
Yeah.
We didn't have to take orders or anything. They got what we got.
Right.
And that was
even that.
Even that. But,
Yeah.
but we fed them all that in an hour.
Yeah.
So.
Well, his father has been an active participant through this whole process. Mm-hmm. I think invested in the restaurant, and also has been there every day. I think he didn't go. He didn't go Saturday night, but almost every night he's been there to help. He sort of is getting everything to flow smoothly. Mm-hmm. I have to say it did. The night we were there, the food was very good, and well, we had apparently their best waitress. And she was really good waitress. So that was fun, and got to spend time with Jane's sister and brother-in-law, which Peter and Amy are really great. So that was fun.
So this is
Jane's sister.
Yeah, but who has the restaurant? Jane's
Amy's son.
Amy's son. Okay.
Yeah, Oliver. Their other son, Nicholas, lives in town. Actually, lives quite close to the restaurant, and has apparently been there frequently. He and Anastasia, his wife, and their 2.5-year-old Josephine, who's a delight and a real crackerjack of a kid. And we went. We spent an afternoon at Hillwood, which was really fun. You probably wouldn't be familiar, but Marjorie Post, her estate has been turned into a museum, and massive gardens, and it was just gorgeous down there. The all different kinds of flowers, just everywhere. It was absolutely beautiful. And some of the buildings have been turned into little separate museums, and has her wardrobe and jewels and stuff. We went through the house again, which we'd done once before, but it's really fascinating to see this place. So she married a Phillips, not Phillips Oil, but his father had made a lot of money doing something, and
Is it Phillips Medical Supply?
no, I don't think so, but he owned a lot of other companies. He had, I noticed Birdseye at one point, but he owned a number of companies, and she apparently just traveled and spent money like it was water. The amount of possessions was just staggering. And art.
Yeah.
They bought a lot of artwork. It was fun.
Yeah, and now they're sharing it with the world.
Yeah. Well, you have to pay
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
that's what we've been doing.
sounds lovely.
It was fun. It was fun.
Except you have to drive there and back.
No, we flew.
Okay. So except you have to fly there and back, but it's only one stop, I assume.
Of course, always it seems our return flight has problems, and so we were over 2 hours late. I don't know. So I got back and later than we had planned on being back last night.
But at least you didn't have to miss a connection in the process.
No, so that was good.
My brother went to St. John's, Virgin Islands, for a couple of weeks. And their flight back, they got to St. Thomas, where they have to fly from.
Yeah.
And they saw the plane come in, plenty of time, and then it just sat there. Well, apparently one of the crew was sick, and they couldn't fly without a full crew, so they had to wait until another plane came in with a crew member who could
shift over. And that one had to wait while the plane came.
So they missed their connection in Atlanta.
Oh, God.
And I don't know where they spent. But anyway, finally got home considerably later. And his wife is not eager flyer, so.
Well, I think we've gotten just about to the end of our travels. We're feeling like that's enough. We don't want to do it anymore. Anyway, I should shut up and we should do what we're here for. So I forgot to put it in my lesson invitation to you, but this is the first.
I didn't get one.
Oh, you didn't? I sent two. One to one email and one to the other email.
I didn't. Well, if one of them is to sbcglobal.net, I don't get that one anymore.
Okay. And that was the one I think that came back saying that it hadn't gone through. So then I sent the one to, that's yours and John's together.
Or Baldery06 at Gmail.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. That should have come through. Unless John saw it and didn't recognize it and deleted it or something. Or, I don't know, I'll check my
Well, you didn't need
spam,
it, so.
my junk.
Yeah.
And I know what you're, but so I was thinking, I assume we have class. The car is gone. I hope that's Jane gone to do an errand or something.
She's at her doctor's appointment.
Well, I hope it's just a routine something.
Well, more or less, they're investigating an issue she's having with her back, but does not seem to be serious. So, just ongoing aging. Welcome to our world, right?
Yes, I'm well into that one. My mother's going to be 102 on Thursday.
All right. Yes, good for her.
I guess. I'm not sure she's happy to be still here, but
really? Well, that's
she's not miserable at all.
Well, good.
But she's can't see really well, can't hear very well. I think she enjoys it when we go visit.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
But
So, any questions?
well, I read the notes from last time about
What was last
hard and
time?
soft,
Oh, yes.
and said, well, that's somewhat interesting. I'm not going to begin to try to do that on my own.
Oh,
especially the hard kind of thing. I don't know that I want to do something that's going to put more stress on my heart or my.
Well, yeah, it's not for gods. It's not necessary to do hard. There could be times when you need hard breathing in order to pump things up, if you will.
Yeah, it did occur to me. Yeah, there's times when I'm falling asleep. It might be nice to be able to do something that just.
Yeah, but really, the soft breathing, which is probably pretty much what you were normally doing, is what we would usually use in gods and most of the other practices we're doing. Except the form, certainly if you were to begin to think about the form in terms of martial application, then hard breathing does come into it, or could. No, you don't have to.
Yeah, I've played with that in the past. I think with the Yang style, there was a day when something just wasn't going right, so I got angry and just did it with force, and it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's more a lesson to make you aware of the possibilities and to suggest that a little practice in being able to do one or the other at will might be valuable, because there are times when you specifically want to do one or the other. But yeah, hard breathing is not something in what we're working on that you're going to use much, if ever.
What's the mechanism of it? Are you just doing it more forcefully, or is it?
Yes, but the problem is, it's interesting. We did this in the Wednesday class recently, and it was, that you're not doing it by adding more muscular power into it, but rather by increasing the force of the breath. So it's kind of interesting just to play with that and try to do it keeping the reverse breathing going, but being able to at will change the force of the breath that you're using without increasing the muscular contraction or tension. Bruce's word is scrunching. Because it's really easy when we think about hard breathing, and we more force. So how do we get more force? But that's not what we want to do.
So how do we get more force?
See, this is something I can't there's you may have noticed in the lesson there was no specific instruction.
That's why I said, well, this is interesting, but
right. So this is something you have to play with to find how you can do that. So I don't know that I can any better than Bruce tell you how to do that, because it's a matter of playing with it. And as a matter of fact, when at one point when I was working on it, what I did was go back and forth between them rather rapidly. So in other words, I would do soft breathing just to get started with that. And then I would make the decision to have the intent to do hard breathing, and you're increasing the power of the breath, but not by tightening the muscles of the abdomen, particularly because that's where we tend to do it. And
so is it deeper? Are you bringing in more air?
No.
So is the air coming in faster?
No. You can keep the pace exactly the same. But there is, I think maybe the important thing here is to really be aware of intent rather than I mean, you can make the breath harder by force of, you can power the breath by physical effort. But the idea is not, we don't want to do that, because what we're trying to do is move energy. And as soon as you start creating tension, we get in the way of moving the energy. So that's why it's really. So I think the other thing, there is one other thing you can think about, and that is that hard breathing in particular is focusing on moving the blood. So if you can use that intent, sometimes helps to connect with doing hard breathing.
And soft breathing is moving not so much moving the blood.
It's not so focused. It's not focused on increasing the power of the blood. No. It's focused it's focused actually on calming the mind as its primary, one of its primary functions. So you're using those two, they become very different functions in the body.
Okay, that connects a little bit.
So you can feel a sense of moving the blood.
Easy for you to say.
Well, I don't mean to be
Yeah.
flippant about it by any means.
No, I know.
It's not, none of these are easy. You know, we're unfortunately, or fortunately, we're at the point where things that we're introducing are really difficult. The lesson I was thinking about for today, which we may just put off to next time, but Bruce was talking about how in order to achieve this particular element, that he had a class where he focused on it, and it was a week-long class, 7 days, and they practiced this particular thing 5 hours a day for 7 days. And he said by the end of 7 days, everybody in the class was able to do it. But that's
more concerted effort than I'm willing
right.
to give.
Well, none of us has the time to do that. I don't even have the time to do that. So it's going to take longer than that, longer than a week. And I do understand what you're saying about the hard and soft breathing. It's just that I can give you words, but I can't. Unfortunately, there is no mechanism.
I like mechanisms.
I know. We all do. We all do. If we can be given a way to do something, that makes it easier. So in practice, in trying to practice this, one thing is to my mind, is to start out by really getting the reverse breathing with soft breathing to be really easy. And then to recognize that you are changing the intent of what you want the reverse breathing to accomplish in your body. And change its focus to strengthening the flow of the blood throughout the body.
Okay. Give that a try. It's sometimes at the ends of the Nigam, when we're doing the I'm probably doing something like that, because what I'm trying to do is wake up and re-energize so I can drive home.
Oh yeah,
But
I think that's a good idea.
because I get so far in or gone
Uh-huh.
that
Particularly I think that's true with um, movement 7. I don't know, you said that and I thought, yeah, I can understand that because movement 7 is very, if you really get into it, is very mesmerizing.
I find it needed more after the meditation than after
Hmm.
the
Oh,
gods.
yeah, I know that you have that difficulty. Well, and so that might be a tool
Mhm.
that when you feel like you're beginning to feel sleepy doing meditation, that try some hard breathing and see if that helps um, to bring you back to awake. That can be an issue. I mean, um, you are certainly not the only person who has had difficulty with falling asleep while meditating.
Yeah.
That's probably millions of people over the
Yes.
centuries have had that issue.
Yes.
So it is difficult to, particularly if you're tired.
Which, after I eat lunch,
Yeah.
I will sit at the table and do a puzzle or something, and sometimes if okay, I'm gonna doze, and it's rarely restful.
Hmm.
It feels more like paralytic.
Oh.
that I that I cannot be awake.
Yeah.
But I'm awake enough to know that I'm feeling that way.
Huh.
So
Wow. That's not.
it's
It's not very restful.
yeah.
Not very, um, not very satisfying sleep.
No, it's not.
Hmm. That's
I
too
don't
bad.
know if I'm fighting sleeping,
Maybe.
so that if I can't fight it, it just feels that I can't possibly move. I don't want any crises to go on during that time because I don't think I could come out of it in time to deal with it. But I'm sure I could. I assume I could.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're always kind of on the edge about that possibility.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of awareness of, and now with vertigo, it's okay. Are his knees going to buckle, or is his head going to tilt him over, or is his back going to?
Oh,
It's
poor guy.
yeah. Yeah. He had injections in the muscles of his back, and it didn't help at all.
Really? Oh, that's too bad.
And the next step would be injections in the nerves, the facets, and he did not like the injection doctor, so he's not inclined to trust him
Yeah.
to do the next bit.
Hmm. When I had the injections in my spine, they were really helpful. It was a kind of a bridge between being in extreme pain and learning how to cope with it.
Mm.
But I did, I guess, 3 times, and every time really helped.
Well, This first one was in the muscles, wasn't in the spine.
Um,
The next ones would be in the spine. But the physician's assistant we talked to gave us the names of some other doctors if he really wants to pursue that.
are you at Middlesex?
No.
Oh,
Well, maybe two of them, two of the names were at Middlesex. This was,
Dr. Sohn is my orthopedic doctor there.
I don't know.
And he's the one who does the shots,
Mhm.
which don't work for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that, I'm not suggesting that that's,
Yeah, and John kind of flips between the Elmwood Haven folks and the Hartford Health,
yeah,
and he did the prostate cancer through Middlesex
yeah.
because his urologist was in the process of retiring and not available very much, and
Mm.
at the time he needed him. But anyway, it's not,
Yeah.
it's just explaining
Well.
why I'm tired.
Well, and very valid reasons. You know, don't criticize yourself for that. That's a lot of stress to deal with. So, do you have other questions about reverse or hardened soft breathing?
I think so. I think I've been doing reverse breathing for a long time. Maybe not as deeply,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of.
Do you feel you're able to get that sense of the diaphragm and the lower abdomen coming in and towards each other and back?
Somewhat.
Yeah. Because there's a huge difference between simply moving the abdomen and getting the diaphragm to be a part of that movement. And it's the interesting thing to me is that I realized that doing the bend the bow and shoot the arrow with that actually made it easier. Making sure you're doing the C curve, because that movement of the diaphragm and the abdomen is actually creating
driving the C curve.
Yeah. So making sure that you're letting the spine move, and that I think helps actually to do that. So I don't recommend that you jump into trying to do the hard breathing with the form. I think
That's
that
good.
yeah, no,
Let that go.
I think that continuing to do the soft breathing for us is just fine. I've played with it a little bit, but I'm not heavily into it. Don't feel a need to do it. I'm not planning to go out and fight with anybody. I'm pretty much a non-fighter as it is. So.
Yes, that, if I ever had any fighting days, they're gone. The Sand Show brought that out in me a little bit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's interesting.
Have you, oh no, you and Show can't be doing any sun show, can you?
No, and I haven't practiced in a long time.
I finally made a decision to let go of it, so you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Particularly, we have to recognize that as we age, we're only capable of doing less.
Yes.
Both in number of things and number of repetitions. So, reality strikes.
Yes. It would be nice to still have it, but it would be really nice to have Shelley to be able to do it with.
Well, exactly. So,
So I haven't even tried. I did a little bit of Dragon and Tiger
mm-hmm.
to calm down after the bear, actually.
Well, I highly recommend Dragon and Tiger.
For calming down after
or,
bears.
or Energy Gates. Well, Dragon and Tiger is a very good practice and one that I think is worth keeping alive. Doesn't mean you have to do it every day or anything like that at all, but I think it's important to be able to have it if you need or want to use it.
Yeah, it took a little while to get, how does this start? Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. but it was helpful to just
Good.
bring the adrenaline level down.
Yeah, seeing a bear on your back deck would enliven the system a little.
I eventually called the police twice after the second one, and then the dispatcher's partner called me back and connected me to the DEP.
Oh.
And I talked to them about it, and they sent me a link to how to report it. So there's a bear sighting link
for
the DEP, yes, and it asks where and pinpoint it and what did you see and did it have a collar on and did it have so quite interesting.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's good to know that, because I'm sure I could find it.
Yeah.
Now that you've told me that much, I could search it.
Yeah. And and I asked, is anything we could do? How do we scare it away or whatever? Should we be quiet? Should we be noisy? And she said, make sure it's not eating. And it's like 20 yards, within 20 yards of your house. And take a couple of pots and bang them together and yell as if, from the safety of your house, don't go out on the deck. As you would to scare a dog away, a stray dog away or something. And they'll go away.
Oh.
So.
Next time.
Well, it just went away. If it decided to hang out a lot, or made moves towards the sliding door.
Yeah, right.
I'd have, good to know that I could do that, perhaps.
Indeed.
Didn't seem to mind whether the light was on or not.
Huh.
Helped me see him. It didn't seem to bother the bear. But anyway.
Well.
Dragon and Tiger helps.
Good. Any form questions?
No, I don't think so. I'm just flowing it. I'm not focusing on anything specifically at the moment.
That's what I was just about to ask you. What you were.
I had a few days when I was really did it every morning. It's really good, and then the kids came and
yep.
I couldn't do it at all. I did one I maybe did a little bit one time we were at the park.
When we were in Washington, I had probably the best flow of gods that I've had in a long time.
Oh, nice.
And a little bit of Wu style out on the deck.
Yeah, now that it's warm enough to be out on the deck, I suspect I'll go out on the deck and do it more.
Yeah, and it is starting to be pleasanter outside.
I've been putting on music when I've been doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
And, the Goldberg Variations.
Oh, yeah.
Harpsichord.
Yeah.
There was a harpsichordist who used to come to our church, and this is one of his recordings, so it's very nice.
Yeah. I'm really fond of harpsichord. When I was in Cambridge, when I lived in Cambridge, I had my leather business on the second floor of a building that had several small, crafty. There was a guy who built and repaired guitars and other stringed instruments. But the owner of the building on the first floor was a maker of harpsichords. So I used to go down and look at his harpsichords. I mean, it was really beautiful, and to see how they're made and everything was really. I don't know if he's still in business or not. That was interesting to me. I didn't realize that there was a market even for that, but he was selling everything he made. So.
My brother-in-law worked for a while with a company making harpsichord kits. He would fabricate all the pieces.
Yep.
Not have to put them together.
Yeah, to get those mechanisms to work right.
and the bone for the keys.
Yeah. I mean, it was always interesting to me that, probably because that was the first transition from plucked instruments, that they plucked the strings in the harpsichord. But a lot harder to do that and make it work well than it is to strike the key and strike the string. So.
Though the harpsichord came first. I mean,
yeah.
You would think, well, maybe the direct, it hits the key and something goes just up and down. Where with the hammer, you hit the key and you get some sort of gear it has to.
Yeah. Interesting. Well. So, I don't really have anything else to give you at the moment because I don't want to get into another whole thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Was Shelley there when you did? You must have the notes from the time I couldn't come because of the kids. With the hard and soft reading.
Yeah, yeah, she was there as much as Shelley can be at the moment. So hopefully you know, maybe our discussion will help her too. But yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Well, should we do a very abbreviated gods?
Abbreviated what?
Gods?
Sure.
Or a short form?
Sure.
A little bit of movement.
Of course. We can do both.
No, I was planning to stop at Shelley's on the way home,
Uh-huh.
but I also have to be in New London at noon. So I'm not sure what time it is. So
Well, I can tell you what time it is. It is 11:03.
not both.
One. Which would you prefer to do?
I think part of the form.
Okay. Do you remember the short form?
I do. I do that every now and again.
Oh, good. Well, let's do that. It's only 30 postures. Be good for Shell. She doesn't like to do this form. Where would you like to be?
So we can be right here.
Okay.
Or
I'm gonna just move this so that if you need any more space.
how can we be there so that Shelley can see both of us? But
Yeah.
probably I'll just wander in.
Okay. And begin Tai Chi. fun.
That was fun.
Thank you.
And this is the beginning of it.
Yeah. Yes, it